Good morning. It's 5:30 a.m. and I'm up because I'm going to make my wife her morning cappuccino. People often ask me, why is your wife so happy when you're such a jerk? And I tell them my secret if they're good friends. It's the cappuccino I make her every morning. She'll come down with her hair all wild, raving, muttering under her breath with a scowl because I kept her up all night snoring. As soon as she sees that cappuccino, and especially smells the aroma, she's transformed back into the beautiful woman I married. Now, I'm a surgeon. I'm used to teaching procedures to students. So I want you to have confidence and pay attention. I can teach this to you. You can do it too, and you can use my secret to create a happy marriage or relationship. So all you'll need is the following equipment. You need a stovetop espresso maker, which comes in 3 pieces. And you need an aero latte to make foam. So, first of all, the stovetop espresso maker. First thing you do is you fill the bottom section with water. And you fill it up to this pressure valve. That pressure valve is there so that if there's too much pressure, steam will come out. But that won't happen because the pressure is going to go up through the coffee and make espresso. So, let's go over to the sink and fill up the coffee pot. So use cold water, and I'm going to fill it up right up to that valve. So you can see that little valve right there, and you can see the water swishing around. That's all you have to do. Now this pot is a large one. It'll make two espressos, one for me and one for her. Now the next step is the coffee basket. And you see it's hollow and has a tube type effect on the bottom. The water will shoot up through that, through the coffee, and into the upper chamber of the coffee pot through these little holes, and it'll wind up in there, and then you have your espresso. So let's make it. So what I do is I buy espresso by the pound in a bulk coffee shop, and I grind it myself. So I can use 3 little scoops, and that's about a ½ an ounce. So a whole pound will make about 32 of these. That's pretty good. Now you notice I didn't pack down the espresso because you want to leave some space so the water can get up through it. Now you screw on the top part and you put it on the stove on medium heat. Now be very careful. You're going to be working with hot surfaces, so be smart and use a pot holder. Okay, so while that's cooking, we're going to do the foam. So you take your milk, and I use skim milk because it foams well, and I'm going to fill up the cup a little less than half, and that's about 3/4 of a cup of milk. Now I'm going to put that in the microwave for 1 minute. Okay, while that's cooking and while the coffee's cooking, let's do a little math. Okay, so if you calculate the cost of espresso, I might as well show you my little worksheet. A pound of espresso is about $10. An ounce is 62 cents. And a 1/4 of an ounce is what we use for 1 cup, is 15 cents. A gallon of milk is $2.69. I use 3/4 of a cup, and that's 12 cents. So if you add it up, it comes to be 27 cents for my cappuccino compared to about $3 at a coffee shop. So that's about 1/10 the cost, and it tastes better. Okay, so now we're going to watch the pot. You don't usually have to watch it, but it takes about a minute. And you don't see anything happening yet, but soon the coffee is going to come flowing out of this top little tube and fill up this whole pot, and that's going to be your espresso. Ah, the milk is done. I can hear it. So we get the milk and it's hot, and you can see the steam. And now what we're going to do is take our aero latte, and this just vibrates very quickly and makes foam. So you can hear it and you can see it and you can see all the bubbles. You just don't want to overflow the foam, and this takes a little practice. So now I'm going to get it almost to the top, and I want to leave a little room to add the coffee so the foam doesn't overflow, because we want to make a nice cap on the cappuccino, and you'll see what I mean in a second. Now you can do this as long as you like or as short as you like, but I like to do it a little bit, get some air going through there, and then you have a nice frothy cappuccino. And you see how beautifully that foams up. I'm going to go almost to the top. Okay, now I always wash that off because the last thing you want to do is create a dirty kitchen utensil for your wife, because that'll ruin the entire effect of the cappuccino. So you want to leave this whole thing clean. Okay, so let's check our coffee. Ah, it's happening. So now you can see the coffee is coming right into that chamber, and it's filling it up. And soon it'll be right to the top. It's got a little bit more to go. But what I want you to notice is at the very end, it's going to start to get almost like a yellowish foam on top of the cappuccino. And that's called la crema. And that's what you look for. It's the cream. And that's what the Italians call it. And that gives it a nice flavor. It's a nice caramelization of the coffee. So here we go. It's filling up. And this is going to be a very good batch because it's perfectly dark and nice. Here we go. Oh, that's beautiful. You see it coming out? You see the yellow? Now it's almost done. So when you hear those bubbles and see those bubbles, let's wait and hear it. Here we go. It's almost done. Look at that beautiful crema on there. And a lot of the people in the coffee shops tell you, no, you can't do that with a stovetop espresso. Only we can do that. Not true. You see it. There's the proof. Okay, now we're going to wait for the telltale sound. It's the bubbling, which you can really hear in the next room. It's almost going to happen. Be patient. She's not down yet, so you still have time. But you better have this made by the time she comes down, because she's going to hear you fussing in the kitchen, and that's going to wake her up. And if you don't have that coffee ready, you're in trouble. Here we go. Look at how beautiful that is. Oh, and if you could only smell it in the video, it's wonderful. There you go. Those bubbles say it's done. Turn the stove off. Always turn the stove off first. Don't forget to do that. Now, what we do, this is my trick. Put a little coffee in first, and then wait. Why? Because that mixes with the milk and makes it somewhat dense. Now we're going to put more cappuccino, and it's less dense, so it's going to rest on top. And it's going to make like a stripe. A beautiful stripe. Look at that. And that's it. You don't want to go over the top. And that is the perfect marriage happiness cappuccino. Oh, here she is. Good morning, hon. How are you?
Good morning.
Give it to her by the handle because it'll be a little hot.
Where's my chocolate croissant?
Oh, I'm almost ready. I just have to get them out of the oven. They're almost ready, hon. Ah, they're perfect. Just like you like them. Have a nice day, hon.